LA This Week.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti has just announced his pick to be the next general manager of the Los Angeles DWP, and that candidate is already vowing sweeping changes. I'm Anita Bennett at DWP headquarters, and I'll have that just ahead.
An old-timey meetup with a modern twist. We take you to a bike ride packed full of moxie and panache. Coming up.
Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti and the USA Track and Field make a special announcement. I'm Yana Kay. I'll tell you what it is next.
Hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. After nearly a month of speculation as to who would lead the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, Mayor Eric Garcetti has chosen a new agency boss. Anita Bennett reports the mayor turned to Anaheim for the DWP's next leader.
Today, I'm nominating Marcy Edwards to be the next general manager of the Department of Water and Power.
3 weeks after the head of the LADWP announced plans to step down, Mayor Eric Garcetti nominated Marcy Edwards as the agency's next general manager. Edwards and the mayor are both vowing sweeping changes.
In my discussions with the mayor, he has made the mission at hand abundantly clear: to run this department like a business and leave politics at the door, and that's a mission I would gladly accept.
We're going to reform the DWP. We're going to make sure that this department is efficient, tightly managed, reliable, and that it cuts its costs.
Edwards currently serves as Anaheim city manager, but she's no stranger to the DWP.
She followed her father and her grandfather, starting here at the DWP at the age of 19 as a clerk typist. And today she is making history as the first woman to lead the largest municipal utility in the United States of America.
She's expected to replace Ron Nichols, who resigned on January 9th. He left amid customer complaints over the utility's new billing system and questions about $40 million in unaccounted ratepayer money.
The basics of being transparent with where ratepayer money goes is, I think, unassailable.
This is a marvelous department filled with a magnificent workforce. It's one of the crown jewels of Los Angeles. And with Marcy Edwards as the general manager, that luster will be restored.
I'm very proud, and I'm looking forward to seeing Marcy to be right here to carry on the great tradition that your grandfather had and your father.
Edwards must first be approved by the city council, and if all goes according to plan, the mayor says he expects her to be in office by March 3rd. At Los Angeles DWP headquarters, I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
Meanwhile, City Controller Ron Galperin is conducting an audit to find out how the ratepayer money was spent. Edwards has vowed to do everything possible to help with the audit. Well, it's been a long time coming, but downtown Los Angeles is slowly blossoming into what it once was, the entertainment center of the city. To mark this transformation, downtown's historic theaters raised the curtains for a special day on Broadway. Yana Kay reports.
Hundreds of theater goers packed the auditorium at the historic $1 Million Theater in downtown LA. This is the first time in years that the $1 Million Theater, which is almost 100 years old, and 5 other historic theaters have opened their doors to the public at the same time. It's all part of the first ever Day on Broadway event, which celebrates Councilmember Jose Huizar's 6th year of the Bringing Back Broadway initiative, which seeks to bring more people and businesses back to downtown's historic core.
It's very important for downtown. Downtown is so much different than it was a few years ago. Downtown is pretty much the place to be in Los Angeles now.
The Day on Broadway featured tours of the Los Angeles, Palace, Tower, Globe, and Orpheum theaters, along with various outdoor events like a Best of Broadway city race and a scavenger hunt. About 1,200 people took part.
We're Team Rogue. Wow, we're Team Rogue, right? And we're here to win this scavenger race. We came from San Fernando Valley, took the metro, just taking advantage of this beautiful LA day.
Councilmember Jose Huizar kicked off the Day on Broadway event to celebrate the revival of Broadway and to commemorate these theaters' historical significance.
This is where Hollywood first started. These beautiful theaters, I think as they go in and they hear the history of these theaters and how some of the first new releases of their time were released, it was on here on Broadway.
Councilmember Huizar said the Bringing Back Broadway initiative, a 10-year plan to revitalize the Broadway corridor, has had tremendous success with several new trendy restaurants and hotels opening up, such as Umami Burger and the Ace Hotel, respectively.
Broadway is bustling with lots of great energy and people, and I think it's good for people to see that because a lot of people still don't understand that downtown is happening.
Not only is downtown LA happening, but city officials are optimistic that these theaters' curtain call today will not be their last. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
Partners for the Day on Broadway event included the Los Angeles Conservancy, the historic Downtown Business Improvement District, and others. Well, when you think cycling gear, spandex and neon might come to mind, but a recent bike ride took cyclists for a spin back in time when things were a bit more dapper, even on two wheels.
Well-groomed mustaches and spiffy suspenders, beautiful bonnets and flowing dresses. Folks came out on a recent Saturday in their Sunday's best for a bike ride in the Arroyo Seco area, and with a nod to the past. It didn't matter if you were dressed in your best 19th or 20th century going out clothes or which decade struck your fancy, as long as you came out ready to ride.
I actually had all of this in my closet except for the hat. So I like clothes a lot. That's part of the fun, I think. Part of the fun is putting outfits together and stuff, and getting ready for the ride is all really nice.
The streets of Los Angeles took a leap back in time as modern-day cyclists, busy taking selfies, came out in their most dapper, old-timey duds for the 5th annual Tweed, Moxie, and Mustache Ride organized by the nonprofit group Cycle, that's CICLE, along with Metro. This year's ride stepped off from the Highland Park Gold Line station on Avenue 58.
We show people how to ride safely by bicycle in the street. We have a theme to make it exciting and fun for people. And on this ride, people dress up in tweed and they wear mustaches, and we go to historic sites in Los Angeles. So we're actually going to be touring and getting information about some of the history in Northeast LA today.
From stylish toppers and lacy gloves for the women to jaunty caps, dapper bow ties, and period-appropriate facial hair for the men, this ride was no slouch.
I've had this hat since 1972. It's a Harris tweed hat, and it's a original tweed. Yeah, so I've had this since 1972, and I've used it. I just kind of see what I can put on.
And with vintage bicycles in tow, dapper riders from throughout the Southland pedaled with panache and moxie, paying tribute to a simpler time when bike riding was part of everyday life. A time gone by that seems in a flash to be back in vogue once again.
The Genteel Jaunt, less than 10 miles in total, stopped at Judson Studios, creators of handcrafted architectural glass since 1897. The Lummis House, a landmark craftsman home dating back to the late 19th century, and the Audubon Center at Debs Park. And back here to the future, cycling is being made easier with each new project, the newest bike lane being on Virgil. As Gil Reyes tells us, cyclists passing through East Hollywood and surrounding areas now have a safer way to get around town.
And with that, the community of Silver Lake welcomes its newest bike lane. It's on a half-mile stretch of Virgil Avenue between Santa Monica and Melrose.
Silver Lake for a while has had a network of bike lanes that's slowly growing, and now that network is starting to expand a little bit westward into Hollywood. And that's a really great thing, because for bicycling in Los Angeles, what's really important is having a continuous network of bike lanes so that the entire route that somebody wants to travel on is safe and comfortable.
Safety for more than just cyclists, says Silver Lake's Councilman Mitch O'Farrell.
When you install a bike lane, it also adds to pedestrian safety because it has a traffic calming effect on our streets. So it makes it safer for everyone.
Los Angeles is in the midst of a 5-year plan to add more bike lanes. This year, the city aims to add 21 more, totaling over 40 miles. They include a 3.5-mile lane on Hollywood Boulevard between La Brea and Sunset, also a 1.5-mile extension to the new lanes on Virgil.
I'm looking forward to coming down Virgil, going down to my district via Virgil Avenue.
And looking forward to even more connections somewhere down the road. In Silver Lake, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The ultimate goal is to have nearly 1,700 miles of interconnected bikeways throughout Los Angeles. Well, the Hollywood family, as well as the LA City family, lost a great ally when Hollywood insider and the city's expert on the film industry, Tom Sherrick, passed away on January 28th. Tom Sherrick was appointed by Mayor Eric Garcetti in October as the city's film czar. Sherrick is seen here along with the mayor attending a conference at the Loews Hollywood Hotel back in November discussing Runaway Productions. Sherrick spoke with passion about his commitment to helping those in the industry stay employed.
We have to give them jobs. We cannot be dormant in trying to watch production leave because people are giving incentives while our friends and family and relatives and neighbors need work.
Sherrick, 68, reportedly died of prostate cancer. In a statement released by his office, Mayor Eric Garcetti said, "I am devastated to learn of the passing of my close friend and advisor, Tom Sherrick. Tom was a true Hollywood original." The mayor also said in the statement, in just a few short months, Tom laid a policy foundation that my administration will stand on for the next 4 years. Tom's work will continue through my office and the many charities to which he devoted so much of himself. Less than a week prior to Sherrick's death, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell delivered his first ever State of Hollywood address, in which he also emphasized the importance of the entertainment industry to our local economy. Here's Anna Marcos.
Runaway movie production will soon be making a U-turn right back into Hollywood if Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell gets his way. O'Farrell delivered his first State of Hollywood speech at Taglian Cultural Center. And yes, the glam industry of making movies was high on the agenda. O'Farrell has already helped form an ad hoc committee to provide local incentives for production companies to film here.
It is part of our identity. It's beyond that. It's 500,000 jobs. It's 500,000 jobs in the county of Los Angeles. Our economy depends on it.
And true to the Tinseltown spirit, each audience member here gets a copy of the latest issue of Variety magazine, which highlights one of the big Oscar contender films of the year. But as the speech makes clear, Hollywood does not live on films alone.
Small businesses employ 3/4 of all workers in the city of Los Angeles.
O'Farrell is supporting small mom-and-pop businesses by championing business tax reform and business-friendly policies. He plans to increase jobs and quality of life for residents and build more affordable housing. Many digital media companies, hotels, restaurants, and nightclubs have already moved in, and the new Target is under construction.
There's a lot of new development underway in Hollywood. That it's going to be very exciting for us. We have 1,400 housing units under construction, 500,000 square feet of office space.
Hollywood, tourist capital, movie capital, economic magnet, is a star whose time has come. And it's got no bigger fan than its own council member who plans to keep making it shine brighter. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And speaking of boosting the local economy and raising the city's profile, Los Angeles just got passed the baton to host some of America's leading athletes headed to the Summer Games in 2016. Yana Kay explains.
The LA Marathon not only pushes athletes to their limits, but it also highlights some of the city's best features. And now Los Angeles will shine once again after Mayor Eric Garcetti announced that the city will be hosting the 2016 Olympic Team Trials Marathon.
We promise a world-class event that will showcase the best of LA, inspire athletes and fans alike.
Olympic hopefuls from across the nation will descend upon Los Angeles to fight for a spot on the U.S. Olympic track and field marathon team that will be heading to the Summer Olympics in Brazil.
The city of Los Angeles and the LA Marathon put on a impressive bid. We were very, very impressed with the public-private partnership and the collaboration and the enthusiasm and the rich history that the city has for both hosting the Olympic Games and the passion that they have for our sport.
When deciding on where to hold the trials, Olympic track and field officials say they take several things into account, such as the city's facilities and infrastructure, as well as the amount of local support for hosting the event. They say Los Angeles met all of those requirements.
I can't think of a more fitting place than LA for any event of this magnitude.
It's a great celebration. It's going to be great for all.
The 2016 U.S. Olympic Team Trials will take place on February 13th and will be broadcast on NBC. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
In addition to existing facilities to be used in the marathon trials, special courses will also be designed. A landmark hotel near Universal Studios is receiving millions of dollars in energy efficiency upgrades thanks to a special program. Gil Reyes reports on the National PACE program and its biggest loan to date.
Major changes to Hilton Los Angeles Universal City. The Hilltop Hotel near the Bright Lights of City Walk is replacing its own bright lights with tens of thousands of new energy-efficient LED bulbs.
Each one of those lights prior to this was a 40-watt bulb, very short life. Today, each one of those lights are only 4 watts each, plus it's a much better light, dramatically reducing the amount of energy we use.
With other upgrades, the hotel is expected to slash its energy costs by $800,000 per year. Hilton can thank the PACE program, or Property Assessed Clean Energy program. It also helped purchase this new air conditioning unit. The program allows the hotel to pay for energy efficiency upgrades through a financing tool guaranteed by LA County. Hilton will then repay the loan slowly over a period of years through property taxes.
The return on the investment is so smart. I hope every single competitor, I hope every other business, I hope everybody out there is watching Hilton because they're going to have money in their pocket.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti cheering on Hilton's $7 million makeover. It also includes new windows on the ground floor that automatically dim to excessive sunlight so less air conditioning is needed. Similar windows in all 460 guest rooms and an EV charging station for company vehicles in the garage.
Significant benefits in operation costs, utility savings are dramatic.
I'm looking forward to being able to relaunch a residential program that can go hand in hand with this in conjunction with LA County in the near future.
So that LA City homeowners can also get in on the savings. At Hilton Los Angeles Universal City, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
To see if your business qualifies and to learn more about the PACE program, log on to lapace.org. Some of LA's award-winning entrepreneurs shared their ideas at a banquet atop City Hall. And as Gil Reyes reports, LA's mayor is encouraging the city's industrialist spirit early on.
18-year-old Antonia Castro, a server at Norm's restaurant, used to get blisters on her arm from serving hot plates all day. So she invented an arm protector, similar to this one, that she calls the Cool Sleeve.
It's just a heat-resistant sleeve. It's elastic. It protects my arm, and, it's easy to use.
For her idea, she's named 2013's LA Area Young Entrepreneur of the Year at the Ernst & Young's Awards breakfast at Tom Bradley Tower. She hopes to have her product in stores this year.
Becoming an entrepreneur, becoming with that idea, it's mind-blowing. I was raised in East LA.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti wants to foster the inventive spirit in young people early through heightened skills training in middle schools and high schools.
If they know entrepreneurialism, or if they know computer coding, or if they know three-dimensional manufacturing, that they can take their ideas and see them as they graduate come true.
Clarence Daniels and his company CMS Hospitality operate restaurants at LAX. 2013's Entrepreneur of the Year for Consumer Services advises young minority industrialists to join business associations.
There are a lot of great ones in Los Angeles, the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber of Commerce, the Latin Business Association, the Asian Business Association, because it's through those relationships and information that you'll see the opportunities. Get as much information as you can, meet as many people as you can.
Clarence Daniels of CMS Hospitality's latest idea is to put a Rolling Stone magazine-themed restaurant at LAX, complete with star-studded photographs and rock and roll memorabilia, leaving many people wondering, why didn't I think of that?
It all starts with a novel idea before turning that dream into reality. Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Before embarking full-time on her business career, Antonia Castro plans to attend college with the help of her award prize, a $1,500 college scholarship. Well, a look at the recent 2014 LA Art Show. Public art on LA's utility boxes expands downtown, and a local football team honored by city leaders. These stories and more in City Beat.
The 2014 LA Art Show recently came to the LA Convention Center. The works of Bordeaux artists from the France-Los Angeles Resident Exchange was on display at the art show, as well as photography from Gil Garcetti, former LA County District Attorney and father of Mayor Eric Garcetti.
We're loving the photography, so we were looking at the bicycles in Paris. That was fun.
I find the guitars very interesting and colorful.
The guitar the gentleman speaks of is part of Cheech Marin's The Chicano Collection, which was also on display at the LA Art Show. A popular public art project that first started in Boyle Heights has now expanded to downtown LA. A mural of Nelson Mandela and another celebrating Native American history are among newly painted murals that can be seen on 6 Department of Transportation utility boxes along Main and Los Angeles streets at 4th, Winston, and 5th Streets. The downtown installation comes after Councilmember Jose Huizar recently announced the installation of 9 utility box murals along the First Street Arts Corridor in Boyle Heights. The city's recreation and parks leaders break ground on a new green space project in the Watts community. This vacant lot, which had been used as a dumping site, will be transformed into a 1-acre park to be completed by this fall. The future park, located at 114 Monitor Avenue, is a result of a grant from the Prop 84 statewide program. Community members contributed to the overall design with amenities to include a large children's playground, a fitness zone, and even 3 sculptures called Urban Flower by artists of the Watts community to be installed along the railroad tracks. Councilmember Bernard Parks invited members of the Crenshaw High School football team and their coaches to City Hall to celebrate the team's section title win after beating the Narbonne High School Gauchos.
Show me, show 3, 1, 2, 3, show!
Crenshaw.
Crenshaw also beat Jefferson, Dorsey, and Venice in the playoffs before taking down a seasoned Narbonne team.
I became a better person because of my coach. He taught me a lot of things, how to grow up and how to just be a man.
The December 6th victory gave a 4th Division I title to Coach Robert Garrett.
The Crenshaw Cougars are ranked 29th in the state. An aging bell is restored to its former glory. Rasha Goel has more on why a historic bronze bell is special to the City of Angels.
The Korean Friendship Bell was presented by the Republic of Korea to the U.S. in 1976, honoring Korean War veterans and celebrating the bicentennial of U.S. independence. After bearing years of wear and tear, the bell was recently restored by a team of artisans from South Korea.
It is our responsibility to take care of this gift. And the second gift in the restoration has been an extraordinary act of kindness, of generosity from our dear friends in Korea.
The bell is a revered symbol of friendship and gratitude to both Koreans and Americans alike.
The prized bell was rededicated in Angels Gate Park in San Pedro, where it is housed in a stone pavilion. Joining Mayor Eric Garcetti to ring the bell were Consul General of the Republic of Korea Shin Yoon-sung and LA County Supervisor Don Kanabe.
The ringing symbolic of the bell 13 times for the original 13 colonies.
The restoration of the Korean Friendship Bell preserved the bell's original designs, including Goddesses of Liberty. This rededication of the bell marks another historic moment that will ring for years to come. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The Korean Friendship Bell is struck 5 times a year on Independence Day, Korean Independence Day, Constitution Day, New Year's Eve, and Korean American Day. And in this week's list of things to do, the birds and the bees at the LA Zoo, Lego Day, and everything you've ever wanted to know about boating. The 2014 Progressive Insurance Los Angeles Boat Show cruises into the Los Angeles Convention Center and Pier 44 in Marina del Rey, February 6th to the 9th. Complimentary round-trip shuttle transportation is available between both locations. The 4-day event showcases hundreds of vessels from entry-level family cruisers to million-dollar yachts, plus the latest in boating accessories and gear. For ticket prices, times, and other information, go to losangelesboatshow.com. The LA Zoo takes on the birds and the bees with the provocatively named lecture, Sex in the City Zoo 2014.
The presentation on Saturday, February 8th, celebrates animal mating, dating, and cohabitating. And just in time for Valentine's Day, the festivities include wine and refreshments starting at 5 p.m. with a lecture from 6 to 7. This event is for adults 21 and older. The zoo is located at 5333 Zoo Drive. More info can be found by going to lazoo.org. And it's Lego Day at the Skirball Cultural Center on Sunday, February 9th from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Backed by popular demand, the Skirball hosts another day of fun and collaborative Lego building with visiting Lego group Lugola. The Lego building also coincides with the museum's exhibit in honor of the architecture of Moshe Safdie, known for his esteemed prefabricated housing project in Canada known as Habitat 67. On Lego Day, you can give it a try, constructing your own imaginative structures. The Skirball is located at 2701 North Sepulveda Boulevard. For details, go to skirball.org. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do.
Another thing to do, which takes place once a month, are lectures hosted by a group with a keen interest in food and food history. The latest lecture delved into the role perfumes played in the Arab culture.
The group, the Culinary Historians of Southern California, which is dedicated to pursuing food history and supporting culinary collections at the Los Angeles Public Library, recently hosted a lecture at the Central Library entitled A Feast for the Nose, the Perfumed Banquet in Old Damascus. Medieval Arab banquets were focused not only on the aroma of the food, but also of the diners who would wash with scented soaps or scented waters throughout the course of the meal.
Some of them were fragrant waters like rose water or orange blossom water. They were distilled, they were water distilled. They were not alcohol distilled like most of our perfumes. The Arabs have never made alcohol-based perfumes, so far as I know. And then there were oil-based perfumes. They were based on an oil called Ben oil, which is the fragrant oil of a particular plant called Moringa oleifera, or the horseradish tree.
Those attending got to smell for themselves perfumes made from medieval recipes. The hands-on experience of the lectures is what keeps bringing Daniel Sylvester and his wife back lecture after lecture.
My wife is interested in this, and we often cook together. And we both love to eat like everybody else. But this one, meeting here was mostly about smells, because that aroma is an important part of food, and also about, sometimes being clean before you eat.
To learn more about the Culinary Historians of Southern California, go to chscsite.org.
The Culinary Historians of Southern California has a membership of about 250 men and women, some who work in the food industry, others who hail from the fields of television, theater, or museums. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacitywiew.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We leave you now with some more of the artwork from the LA Art Show. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
There are heroes among us. They don't fly or bend steel or ride off into the sunset. They simply volunteer to look after someone else's health by providing comfort, lending a hand, or simply keeping us on track. Everyone's health needs a hero. Who will you look out for?
Find out how you can participate in improving our health. Visit iparticipate.org.
What's with all the zombies?
Alert LA County. It takes the surprise out of disasters like zombie attacks. And without surprise, they're out of a job.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email.
Any skills besides flesh eating? Pick that up.
Events may include disasters, evacuations, safety notices, and if necessary, zombie attacks.
Next.
Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
G'day, Troy McCubbin from North Hollywood. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
Good morning. If I could ask everyone to take their seats. It's February 7th. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. All is welcome. We are fortunate to be at our Valley office today. Madam Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfeld, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezer, Carrasco, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Weston. 11 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
O'Farrell moves, Bonin seconds. Next.
Committed to resolutions for approval.
Koretz moves, Martinez seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, do you wish to run through the agenda?
Yes, I do.
Item 1 is an item noticed for public hearing. There is a request to continue item 1A to March 18th.
Without objection.
And item 1B to February 21st.
Without objection.
There are cards on this item.
Okay, so let's move on to the next set of, or are there any sections of this we can vote on now, or do we just have to hold the whole thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
Next section, items 2 through 5.
Okay.
Are which items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before us. Mr. Krikorian.
Ask that number 5 be received and filed, please.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. Do you have cards?
Yes, cards on items 2 through 5.
Okay. And that brings us again where?
Mr. President, that takes council to presentations or items called special.
Ms. Martinez, would you like to begin today's presentation portion? Ms. Martinez, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. It's my distinct pleasure to honor Graciela Rodriguez, the principal at Canterbury Elementary School in Arleta. Ms. Rodriguez is retiring after 37 years of dedicated service to the Los Angeles Unified School District. Ms. Rodriguez has not only served at LAUSD, but was educated here in the San Fernando Valley. From San Fernando Elementary School to San Fernando High School, she grew up in our local schools and later graduated with a Bachelor's of Arts in Liberal Studies in 1976 from Cal State Northridge. She began her career as a teacher assistant at Aguilera High School at LAUSD, and she was the second group of students selected to participate in Operation Chicano Teacher at CSUN. Ms. Rodriguez has received a credential in administrative services and multiple subject training, certificates in English as a second language, and in Spanish. During her time with LAUSD, Ms. Rodriguez has served in many positions: principal and assistant principal, instructional advisor, second school coordinator, district advisor, and bilingual coordinator. I'd like to thank her for her dedicated services not only to Canterbury Elementary School, but I had a pleasure of working with Ms. Rodriguez when I was on the school board a year ago. We did a lot of great things. She's going to be missed, and I can tell you that Canterbury Elementary School is very fortunate to have had her there for 6 years, and we're going to miss her. But I'm delighted that she's going to get to rest and enjoy more time with her family. But the children of Arleta are so much better for her dedicated service at Canterbury Elementary School.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You want to say something?
Well, I just want to thank Ms. Martinez for this opportunity for recognizing an educator, and I want to thank you for your kindness to have us here this morning. Thank you.
Now, thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you.
Let's give her another round of applause. Mr. Blumenfield, are you ready to proceed? Absolutely. Okay, go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. It is a pleasure today to be here to honor Spike Delamont Ward and Levi Ponce. In fact, maybe I got to have you guys, oh, you're right here. Come, make sure you're up here when we do this. Both of them have worked to enrich the Valley communities through the arts. President Kennedy, he had, in a speech in Amherst College just a few weeks before his death, he said something about the arts in America. He said, quote, "I look forward to an America which will not be afraid of grace and beauty, an America which will reward achievement in the arts as we reward achievement in business or stagecraft." Well, today here in the San Fernando Valley, in our own small way, we're helping to fulfill that mission by honoring artists and those who advocate for the arts as examples of how creativity, especially in the hands of master artists, can be crafted to uplift and improve our communities. Spike Delamont Ward is a Valley artist, arts education and public school activist, and a community leader. Her paintings have been in various spaces throughout the Valley for over 20 years. She has landscapes of the Valley are on view now in all sorts of places, even in Councilman Englander's office, I believe. He's given us a thumbs up. They are. Her cartoon book, Art, came out in 2010 and is on sale at Continental Art Supplies, CSUN Art Gallery, and LA Galleria Gitana in San Fernando. In 1999, when Spike's oldest child entered kindergarten, She volunteered to teach art at school, and one thing led to another, and in no time, her volunteerism evolved into her starting an arts education nonprofit that has served over 50 elementary schools, middle, and high schools. It has employed teaching artists and musicians and has mobilized over 100 volunteers every year for various art shows, concerts, and festivals and school murals. Her fundraising expertise resulted in grants from the leading foundations in Los Angeles, and her leadership skills as founder and executive director of Arts and Education Aid Council were recognized by the Annenberg Foundation as outstanding in her field. She was asked to serve as one of the first community champions of the Annenberg Alchemy Program, where she mentored other nonprofit leaders on how to build strong and effective boards. Today, she serves on the Reseda Neighborhood Council as Secretary and Outreach Chair. She is everywhere at all events and does an amazing job and brings her family into it. She's been an invaluable partner in our shared efforts to revive Reseda through the arts, something called Reseda Renaissance. And it's been an amazing renaissance. Collaborating with the 1111 Creative Collective and the Reseda Neighborhood Council, Levi Ponce has been working to beautify our Reseda community one giant masterpiece at a time. And it's been pretty incredible when you see his work. Levi, who previously transformed a stretch of Van Nuys Boulevard in Pacoima into what's known as the Mural Mile, with more than a dozen murals by him and other artists, has brought his artist touches to Reseda. In August, he painted a tribute to Michelangelo featuring some of Italian artists' classic works on the north wall of the Continental Art Supplies store on Reseda Boulevard. And just last week, we had an amazing unveiling of his work at the Magnolia Science Academy on Sherman Way. It was a giant mural of Einstein, and it was done really creatively and just, I mean, you looked at it and you say, wow, this is not only an amazing piece of art, but this is an artist who is going somewhere and will be a household name in no time. Levi's a graduate of Reseda's own Cleveland High School, and he's made the Reseda community proud as he plays a part in the Reseda Renaissance. For both of their tireless efforts to enhance our communities through the arts, it's my privilege today to honor them and to have the council join in honoring them, to thank them on behalf of a grateful community, not just Reseda, not just the West Valley, but the whole city of LA. We're grateful to what you do. And so in that vein, I'd like to give you each, on behalf of the entire
You know what, Mr. Blumenfield, before we go to the presentation,
yes.
Or before you give them their certificates, I have two members that'd like to say a few words, starting with Mr. Fuentes.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Wesson and Mr. Blumenfield for making this presentation today. I think you're absolutely right. Levi and all of these artists are going to be big names, but already in the 7th Council District and the community of Pacoima, Levi is a household name. He has helped transform Van Nuys Boulevard into a place where we proudly call it the Mural Mile. It's an opportunity for the community to celebrate in art. And it's really begun the revitalization of that very important corridor, which is the heart and soul of Pacoima. So I'm very excited, Mr. Blumenfield, that you brought Levi today. I also wanted to make the announcement, because he may make it, and I hope he does. There are other fantastic artists out there who are helping transform Los Angeles. People like Manny Velasquez, Ra Azul, Christy Sandoval. There's a cadre of people out there who are helping bring art to each and every one of us every day. So my last announcement, and I know that Levi will echo it, is that for $15 on March 15th, you can join the Museum of the San Fernando Valley that does these very regular walks to enjoy the Mural Mile. And all of those proceeds go to help benefit additional art improvements and installations in the San Fernando Valley. So I'm very honored to have you here today. Congratulations. Thank you. Continue the good work, and we've got lots of areas of the city of Los Angeles to beautify. Thank you.
Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to echo. I'm a huge fan of Levi Ponce and his great work along Van Nuys Boulevard, and he's coming into Council District 6, and we've met about that before. But I want to thank you for working with the students at Magnolia Charter and Birmingham High School. You're helping them and mentoring some of the students that have come up with a wonderful design for a mural along Haskell, right north of Victory. So thank you so much for you're doing that out of your own free will, and you're partnering with the students and really teaching them and appreciate art and everything that you have to offer. So thank you so much, and I'm very proud to call this young man my friend. homegrown from Pacoima, and he's stayed here and he's giving back to the community and helping so many young people fall in love with art again. Thank you very much.
Thank both of you for those kind words. Mr. Blumenfield, back to you.
Great. And before I actually give you both these beautiful certificates, which you get a little preview looking, if you each want to say a word or two, we would welcome that. Do you want to, Spike, start with you?
Thank you, Bob. Now's a great time for the Valley as far as the arts goes. I've been on the scene now for about 20 years, and a lot of things have happened. We get made fun of here in the Valley. Some of it we deserved, but we're also being recognized now as being the place to go find out what's going on with the arts. So it is a real thrill for me whenever I hear people talk about coming over the hill, and they mean the other direction. And this is just the very beginning. Levi is a huge part of it. We've got other things that have, other movements that are happening with 1111, a creative collective. The Valley Cultural Center is expanding into other areas of the Valley. And, of course, we've got NoHo and Pacoima. So the Valley is a force to be reckoned with right now. So it's an honor. I really appreciate being recognized today. And I believe with all my heart that the arts transform communities. They uplift school communities. They make bridges between cultures. They heal. They bring back economies. I could go on and on and on, but I believe it with all my heart. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Spike. And Levi, would you like to say a few words?
I just want to thank the council. I want to thank all the neighborhood councils as well, because it's a collective effort. It's not just me out there. It's a whole community that comes together to make these murals happen. And I feel that that's what's led to the success of, Mural Mile and other areas that I'm working in. So I'd like to thank everybody that's a part of it. It's not just me by any means. And again, all the neighborhood councils, 1111 Creative Collective. Spike, thank you so much. And thank you all.
So, by the power vested in me, the City of Los Angeles, as a council member, please accept these token certificates. And
Anyways, give them another round of applause. Great job. Great job, Mr. Blumenfield. Mr. Mitchell Englander.
Take this here. Take the visitor thing off. You're not a visitor, and this is your building. It's the people's building. And what an honor it is and a privilege for me to make this presentation, because this is an individual and a team behind him that has done so much and continues to do so much for the San Fernando Valley. Today I want to recognize someone who has worked tirelessly to promote and preserve the history and the culture of the San Fernando Valley, Richard Hilton, a longtime member and founding board of directors of the Museum of the San Fernando Valley. Here, don't be scared. Come on, don't be shy. You guys are certainly not shy. Over the years, Richard and his team have led the efforts to highlight the great historical treasures present in our communities. He's organized walking tours of many of the San Fernando Valley's communities, including Van Nuys, North Hollywood, CSUN, and our very loved Oak Ridge Estates. Richard also led the centennial celebrations of Van Nuys, Northridge, and Granada Hills, organizing community events, recording and preserving historical significant artifacts, conducting bus tours, promoting all of our unique buildings and landmarks, which make the San Fernando Valley special in what it is today. This is actually really cool, and I watched some of these videos being filmed and participated in some of these moments where Richard was instrumental in collecting the stories of Valley residents through the Narrating Lives, an oral history project, a project that was funded by the Department of Cultural Affairs. The Oral History Project actually captured 30 audio and visual stories of everyday Valley residents, paying tribute to our Valley pioneers and preserving their history and telling their stories for generations to come. It's really remarkable that you've done this, and really cool and incredible. Those interviews included people like Andy Anderson, Porky Johnson, both who passed away soon after their story was actually captured on film. Biff Elliott, Montagna Jr. and Linda Montagna. Councilman Greg Smith and Hal Burnson were filmed years ago, and I sat in and watched those being filmed as Scott was doing, I think, the interviews for those as well, if I remember. And it's really neat that we've actually captured this, and he's done so much. Additionally, Richard is an accomplished author, talented photographer, champion dog breeder, and it is my distinct honor to present this resolution from the City of Los Angeles on behalf of not just me, but all the Valley Council members in the San Fernando Valley, and it's fitting that we're doing that here in Van Nuys, our Valley City Hall, and thank you so much for everything that you continue to do to protect and preserve and tell the stories of what the San Fernando Valley is and where we've come from. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I'd like to have you say a few words as well, please.
Well, let me answer the first question. Beagles. We show beagles, my wife and I. A lot of people have said over the years, and it's so true, that you really, to know the present and where you're going, you have to know the past. It gives context to everything we do, everything. And we up here, it takes a village. It's going to continue to take a village. A lot of people doing a lot of things. And the Valley is absolutely rich, rich, rich in history. Its architecture, its people, its past, everything. 1933, across the street, 1939. I lead Van Nuys Tour, and one of the reasons I got interested in the Van Nuys Tour, and we do these bi-monthly with North Hollywood, and then we also do, as several people have already mentioned, the Pacoima Mural Mile. This is almost, I guess, almost Levi Day, because I did that tour with Levi, and he's incredible, and the other artists are fantastic. You really have to do that tour. But partly because I didn't think Van Nuys was getting its due. And I'm writing a book on the history of Van Nuys, and we have about 500 pages, and I'm not even close. There's a lot going on here. There was a lot going on here, and it was one of the first places in the Valley to really take off. So I appreciate everybody at the Museum of the San Fernando Valley. And the oral history program is really fantastic. If you know people who deserve to be interviewed, please let us know. We did the 100-year-old identical twin sisters a couple of years ago. They were in the paper, and they're now 102 and going strong. As they say, they don't feel a day over 85. And I invite all you guys. We have a NoHo tour tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Meet at the Amelia Earhart statue. I want to thank everybody at the Museum of the San Fernando Valley. They have been so supportive of each other and of the tours and everything. I invite you to join us, and thank you so much for this honor. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me see. It's Mr. Fuentes. There are a bunch of stout gentlemen that are here today, and maybe you can present them to this body.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Martinez, would you mind joining me? You're a proud Tiger alum from San Fernando High School. Class of 91. I'm class of 89. Go Tigers. Come on up, guys. Members, I am very excited, Mr. Wesson, colleagues, to introduce to you the San Fernando High School Mighty Tigers. Guys, are you guys here? Yes, sir. Come on, let me hear you. Yes, sir. All right. Let's go. Tigers! So the San Fernando High School Tigers, colleagues, won their City Division II championship again. This is a second year in a row. Give them a round of applause,
champs.
San Fernando High School, as you all know, watching all of us sports enthusiasts, it's too bad Mr. Labange isn't here because he'd be able to correct me. There is a proud tradition at San Fernando High School of excellence, of athleticism and scholarship. And San Fernando High School this year went 14-0 to win the City Section Division II championship. The Tigers came through in a very exciting second half championship game, which I was in attendance, to beat Southgate High School 34-32. And give you a big round of applause. Every last person on this team worked very hard towards that championship, but there are some folks who just have to be mentioned, like receiver Jose Camargo, who caught 80 passes for 1,500 yards, earning him lots of titles, including first team All-City. Chris Solano had, our quarterback, had 5,000 total yards and over 60 touchdowns this year alone. He broke San Fernando High School's single-season record in total yards and in touchdowns. He's passed for more than 10,000 yards in his career at San Fernando High School. He's been lots of accolades, including Daily News Player of the Year and All-City Division II MVP. It's my understanding that Mr. Solano has also, did you sign?
Yes, sir.
He officially signed with the University of Nevada, same school that San Francisco quarterback Colin Kaepernick attended. This team could not have been as successful as they were if it weren't for the partnership that we have in our community, the guidance that these young athletes have gotten from their families, and obviously the tremendous coaching that they receive from Trinidad Robert Garcia. Where's Coach? There he is. Now, Coach is a Kennedy Cougar. I just have to let you all know that. He's a rival, but he came to San Fernando High School and he has coached a tremendous team. I mean, he has done this a long time now, but he has an impressive two-season record of 26-2. So give Coach a big round of applause. Members, I'm going to turn this over for Ms. Martinez, who knows how great San Fernando High School is, how much this community has invested in our youth, and the commitment that these young athletes, these young men, and everybody who's been involved had to employ in order to be champions. This championship effort is just one element of what a great school San Fernando High School is. It's one element of what it is to have a great community behind our young people. And with that, I want to introduce our esteemed colleague, Nuri Martinez.
Thank you very much. Tigers! Yeah! I love it. So I might not be a football expert, but I think that a perfect season is pretty good, right? Yeah. So I congratulations. I know that Coach Garcia played with one of your staff members, Ruben Zaragoza at Kennedy. Well, we're not going to hold that against you. I told him earlier he looks like one of the students. You look young. So congratulations, Mighty Tigers. I know a thing or two about not giving up, and even when you thought you were your backs were up against the wall, you fought hard, you didn't give up, and you had a very successful season. I wish you all the best. Congratulations to those of you who are graduating this year, moving on to college. That's the way to do it. I know all of you are homegrown, and we don't have anyone on the team. I think, Coach. I think I read this in the newspaper that are actually being. They're not permitted into the school, right? They're all local kids from the local community doing great things and moving on to do bigger and better. Congratulations, Tigers. You make me very, very proud. Coach Garcia, come on, don't be shy. You played center, right, for the Kennedy Cougars?
Yeah, I played at UCLA.
And UCLA?
Yeah. How's everybody doing? Like I said, my name is Coach Garcia. It's my second year. But you know what? I had a great group of kids for 2 years that came from the bottom, and you know what? I couldn't ask for more for these guys. The whole San Fernando community and the principal, Mr. Lee. I want to thank everybody for giving me an opportunity to be in this position. But we had kids that came every day to work hard, and kids that were told they were good in football, and we put it together as one team. My staff that work hard every day. Guys come from out of the city to come help these guys out every day. I want to thank all of them and thank the community and the Tiger Nation. It's a great day to be a Tiger today.
Yeah.
Captains of the team are Jose Camargo, Christian Solano, and Johnny Nunez.
Where are the captains? Let's go ahead. Come on up here. Where's Jose? All right, there's one more. Come on over. All right, colleagues, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, on behalf of Ms. Martinez and I, who are alum, Tiger Pride here, we want to make this presentation to the captains and to the coach and to the Tiger football team. Let's hear it, Tigers. Yeah.
Who's got with the butt, though?
All right. All right, Tigers, well done. Give them a big round of applause.
All right, give them a round of applause. Yes, young man.
Oh, we just want to say,
Welcome.
you go ahead, sir. Sorry.
No, welcome.
My name's Christian Solano from San Fernando. I'm the varsity quarterback. I just committed to Nevada yesterday, but we got some gifts for Mr. Felipe right here. Can I present him?
Yes,
Okay.
go right in.
We got,
Congratulations.
we actually got him a football signed by all the athletes and the players and the coaches. It's a game ball. It's actually the game ball. We got him a hoodie as well.
All right, there we go.
And we got him a beanie and a hat so he can be tigered out.
There we go. Give me that beanie. There.
So as we said, we did it as a family. We all played for each other, and these brothers right here, we all got our city rings. So thank you very much for the council.
Now, congratulations to all of you guys. Hey, Coach, we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Hopefully we get to three-peat.
We'll see you next year. All right, let's give them another round of applause. You look good in that beanie, Mr. Fuentes. Sounds like victory, fellas. Okay, you know what I'm going to do right now, Mr. Blumenfield? I'm going to go to general public comment, and it's my understanding that there's some people that have some concerns, and you're going to direct them to cultural affairs or something. So why don't we move forward with general public comment, and we're going to go with, and if I miss somebody, let me know. We're going to go with Dory Mahler, Dory, Juliana Martinez, Jerry Brown, and Renee Thomas, and Carolyn Uri. So go right ahead.
Good morning, council members. Mr. President, my name is Dory Marler, and I am past president of both the San Fernando Valley Art Club and the Watercolor Society. I am also a former board member and director of the salon at the Valley Institute of Visual Art, otherwise known as Viva Gallery. I am speaking on behalf of the many art organizations which are based right here in the Valley. These art organizations have staying power. One of them has been around since 1921, before some of you. After the demise of Viva, we all had to find other places for our exhibits. We traveled to downtown LA, Santa Monica, even as far away as Lancaster and Laguna, just so we could exhibit our art. But our home is really the San Fernando Valley, and I believe that this new arts and cultural center will bring these art organizations back to the valley where they belong. The idea that we could finally have a place to call home is something that excites us and makes us want to show the rest of LA that we are just as creative and talented as any of the artists on the West Side. We are proud to represent the Valley. Our 1.8 million inhabitants provide a lot of tax money for the city of LA. We'd like to see some of that money coming back to the Valley to support arts and culture. We are not a cultural wasteland, far from it. There's a vibrancy to the Valley art scene and a vision to reach out to art lovers, young and old. Please support our efforts to create an art and cultural center which serves all of the San Fernando Valley. And I'd like to get a show of hands now of people here who are representing arts in the Valley.
It's a lot of hands.
Thank you very much.
Now, thank you. So we have Ms. Martinez, followed by Jerry Brown. Good morning.
Good morning to you. My name is Juliana Martinez. I'm a public artist. I'm currently doing a double commission from the Los Angeles County Arts Commission at Monroe High School and San Fernando High School, although it has nothing to do with football. But I'm also Director of Public Art for the San Fernando Valley Arts Council. We currently have 10 murals going into the public schools, and we have programs for performing arts for the young people coming, as well as other exhibitions and performing arts opportunities that will be happening this year. However, we don't have a center. We need your support. Yesterday, Carolyn Urey and I met with the mayor, and we wanted to make him aware of our trying to get this center going. We need $35,000 startup money. We just wanted to make him aware, and before we could say anything, he said, "This is wonderful. How about if I start you off with $10,000? And then he instructed us, when you go before the city council, tell them I'm giving you this money and challenge your city councilman from the valley to help you make up the difference." So while I'm challenging you, I'm also passing on a message from the mayor. I went to college for 9 years to be an artist. That's longer than a doctor. And yes, I have this double commission, but I didn't work for 18 months because there's no jobs for artists because we don't get the recognition. Things like the center will bring attention to the art industry, teachers, workshops in schools, murals being commissioned by private businesses. We need your help, and I thank you for your time.
Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Jerry Brown. I'm the General Director of Center Stage Opera, the Valley's professional opera company. Randy Cohen of Americans for the Arts speaks of the value of the arts in our society far more eloquently than I could ever hope to do. He writes, "The arts are fundamental to our humanity. They ennoble and inspire us, fostering creativity, goodness, and beauty. They help us express our values, build bridges between cultures, and bring us together, regardless of ethnicity, religion, or age. Researchers have demonstrated that a high concentration of the arts in a city leads to higher civic engagement, more social cohesion, higher child welfare, and lower poverty rates. A vibrant arts community ensures that young people are not left to be raised solely by a pop culture or a tabloid marketplace. 72% of business leaders say creativity is of high importance when hiring. And as one business report concludes, the arts, music, creative writing, drawing, dance, painting, provide skills sought by employers in the third millennium. Students with an education rich in the arts have higher GPAs and standardized test scores, lower dropout rates, and even better attitudes about community service. These benefits are reaped by students regardless of socioeconomic status. And supporting the arts is more than just plain common sense. Supporting the arts makes good dollars and cents as well. Nonprofit arts organizations in America generate $166 billion in economic activity annually, supporting 5.7 million jobs and generating nearly $30 billion in government revenue. Investment in the arts supports jobs, generates tax revenues, and advances our creativity-based.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown. If we could have Ms. Thomas. We'll see. If I give you more, then everybody's going to want more.
Is the leading soprano and co-artistic director of Center Stage Opera. She regrets that she is ill and unable
is this
to sing.
Renee Thomas?
Shira Renee Thomas, yes.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So,
Let's hope she...
If I may request, I am prepared to give my poor imitation of her magnificent voice in sharing.
You know, Mr. Brown, I hate to sound like the evil guy, but I have to, because I'm really not. But we don't, one person can't give their time to another person. I think you were very articulate, all of you, and we appreciate you coming. But if we could have Miss Carolyn Urey, and again, lovingly, I'll call you Governor Brown. You did a very, very good job. Good morning.
Good morning, President Wesson. My name is Carolyn Urey, and I'm the Vice President of the San Fernando Valley Arts Council and the former President of Viva Gallery. First of all, I hope you enjoyed the show, which didn't happen, but Jerry did his best. I figured that we needed to provide more than just the spoken word to get your attention. You're a tough audience sometimes. Now I'd like to talk to you about a little meeting I had with Mayor Garcetti yesterday. He was having one of his many office hours at the Pacoima City Hall, and I jumped at the chance to talk with him about arts in the Valley. Well, I felt like I was talking to someone who really understood exactly what we were all about, and we didn't even have to make the ask. He instinctively knew what we needed and pledged funding to the tune of $10,000 to our Arts and Cultural Center. Maybe that's because we addressed just what he wanted for the Valley: culture, tourism, new jobs, and green businesses. I believe that you'll find no harder working, creative, all-volunteer team than the members of the San Fernando Valley Arts Council. While we are waiting for our center to become reality, we have already put our heads together to reach out to many of the Valley communities with a school mural program, photography workshops for our combat veterans so that they can ease back into civilian life, an exhibition based on the murals in the Valley, a public art project at LA Valley College to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and much, much more. I am appealing to you, our distinguished Valley Council members, to stand with the mayor and set a precedent in working together to provide the rest of the initial funding for our Arts and Cultural Center. I'd like to thank those of you who have already taken the time to meet with us and, more importantly, recognize the Valley as a true arts destination. Thank you.
No, thank you all. Thank each and every one of you for coming down. Mr. Blumenfield, did you want to make a statement?
I wanted to thank all of you for coming down. I mean, we want the San Fernando Valley to be a true arts destination. I know I've talked to all of my colleagues in the Valley, and we are all really strongly supportive of the arts. We want to work with you to try to find the funding that you need. One of the things we've done today to help you out is we have Chris Riedesel from the Department of Cultural Affairs grants team, and Charlie Jensen from Arts for LA are both here. If you could stand up and have you meet with them. They'll give you some talk about the 50/50 program that the city has and some of the other avenues that are currently available under the city, and we'll continue to work with you because, as I said, we and I don't just speak for myself, but I speak for all of the Valley Council members because we've discussed this. We really want to see the arts destination that the Valley is become the arts destination that the Valley should be, which is a much greater destination for that. So thank you for coming.
And thank you, Mr. Bloomingfield. In fact, I would hazard to guess that all members of this council would want to help you any way that we could. The stronger you are, the stronger the entire city of Los Angeles is. So again, thank each and every one of you for coming out. And with that said, if you could just meet with the two representatives that Mr. Bloomingfield introduced, and we'll begin this process. And again, like he said, we will be speaking among ourselves as well. All right. With that said, I think we want to go to item 4. Madam Clerk, if that's okay. We have cards on 4. Mr. Murphy, but he gave me permission to call him Sean. Sean, please come forward. John Walsh. Daniel? Come on. Daniel, you're third.
Yes,
Yes,
item
Sean.
4. I'm sorry. Yes,
No, yes.
Item 4, I support. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, that brings us to Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. You notice the long shot. They don't want you to see my Jew face. I embarrassed them. Now you can see my Jew
Stay on the item.
It's my Jew face.
Stay-
Number
that's
4
not the item.
is regards Glamour Gowns 2014 council action. You're not going to believe the waste of money here. These are beautiful chiffon gowns for some kids. Now, I'm not against those kids having those glamour gowns, but if you read what it says here, this concerned an event that didn't even take place at the city. It was an AEG event. So AEG bought some glamour gowns for some kids, and now the city of Los Angeles is paying for it, along with the heated steering wheel on Herb Wesson's
Stay
car.
on the item, Mr. Walsh. Thank you. Your time's expired. Mr. Gus. Mr. Gus, followed by Arnold Sachs.
Good morning. Obviously, it's a good program to help kids who don't have an advantage, but I would offer a friendly suggestion to Mr. Price and Mr. O'Farrell. Let the City General Fund pay for half of this and take a quarter of it out of Mr. Price's and a quarter out of Mr. O'Farrell's discretionary fund. If the council members believe in the cause, let them pay for a quarter of the fees out of their personal discretionary funds. I am concerned about AEG's involvement. I am concerned about what Mr. Walsh said, but if council members Price and O'Farrell believe in the event, please pay for a quarter of it out of your discretionary funds, because the general fund will benefit from that, but it sounds like a good cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sachs, followed by Marion Fogler.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And the management, this payment is to AEG or any agency or organization as appropriate and above amount, because I believe your last action was with the LA Arena Land Company. And this involves the event that took place at the convention center for this graduation event. So it's not really that AEG is getting the money. They manage it, but who exactly is getting the money? Any organization or agency as appropriate. Can you be more specific? And again, AEG and the LA Arena Land Company. Can you be more specific? It's redundancy, redundancy, redundancy. And very quickly, glamour gowns and John Wall's face, that's an oxymoron.
Okay, come on, Mr. Sachs. Okay, Arnold. All right, Ms. Fogler.
You don't have money for our video conferencing for San Pedro and San Fernando Valley for Van Nuys for 2 million people, but you got money to allow the AEG to go ahead and do such a despicable thing, even though the program is very good. I think that there's a financial chaos going on here in the city, and I don't know how the mayor can suggest about business tax exemption when we're all financially strapped for money. And I think they should have gotten donations. I think that this was a very, very worthwhile program, and it should be further investigated so that we can even have it expanded. But I like to have them have no money coming from the general fund. That's just my opinion. So save my time. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. Maybe for a point of clarification or two?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I don't want to get in the back and forth, but I do appreciate the positive comments that Mr. Gus and Ms. Vogler provided. And in fact, what the motion calls for and what's before us today is an expenditure from the CD9 discretionary funds, specifically as the general city purposes funds that are already allocated to CD9. So this is going to have no impact on the general fund. It will have an impact on the discretionary funds of CD9, to Mr. Gus's point. In fact, it's the entirety of it, Mr. Gus, not just a portion of it. And this is a really important, worthwhile program, and I appreciate many people have mentioned that. This is young women who are in foster care, who've been deprived of just about everything that young women growing up in our society should have, and have had the most difficult kind of time growing up. And this is an opportunity for them to enjoy the opportunity to dress for a prom with gowns, and I really appreciate Mr. Price's effort, Mr. O'Farrell seconding it, in order to provide that funding so that they can continue that program. But it isn't general fund money. This is already coming out of the CD9 GCP account.
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian, and it is a very, very special moment for those young ladies, and I'm proud to support that effort. Mr. Englander?
This is bad. BAD. That was my daughter started a nonprofit called Borrow a Dress, BAD, when she was 14 years old. And she collected gowns for proms, for quinceañeras, for kids that couldn't afford to go to their own dance. Because she'd realized after she went to a dance that it was one of the most stressful times in her life at that age, is finding the right dress. And then she thought about all the other kids that couldn't afford a dress. That is one of the most, it's so difficult to grow up nowadays that kids don't know how to communicate because they text and it's all social media and bullying online. And there's so much pressure and so many kids that can't afford that moment in time and are robbed of that in their youth, and it changes the rest of their life. Yes. To make them a princess for a day. So she started this organization. I had a garage full of dresses for years. This is bad. This is Borrow a Dress. This is the ability to help kids that would never have that opportunity again. Not only do I welcome this, it's awesome that we should all get behind it and support it and give these kids this chance that they would otherwise never have. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank your daughter for us. Okay, members, let's Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I noticed the other day that the LA Times used the word quinceañera, so I think for the record that's becoming part of the English language now if I hear Mr. Englander use it as well. So thank you.
Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that passes. Madam Clerk, it has been requested that item 3 be continued for 2 weeks. That date would be what?
February 14th.
Okay, so 3 will be continued until Valentine's Day. All right. Wait. You sure that's not the 21st?
2 weeks, I'm sorry. February
okay.
21st.
All right. Thank you, Justin. Let's go to item 1. Called special by Sean and Mr. Walsh on item 1, and Mr. Sachs.
Yes, item 1, I am against. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Sachs.
Blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concerns hearing protests and appeals of building and safety. Every almost every meeting, we have someone coming up here, and they always say the same thing. The first time I got a notice, it was to attach my property. I had no idea that I owed you money. You're absolutely, this whole system is in chaos. And we always have these people coming up here, and incidentally, every time they come up here, you back down because the city was in the wrong. They were in the right. They had to come down here. They showed you that they weren't in arrears. This is the only city in chaos. HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential.
Okay, Mr. Sachs, please come forward. Mr. Sachs.
I'm waiting for the time to.
Oh, good. No, you got it.
Thank you, sir. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. And again, some of my comments will again regard the use of personnel, but more importantly, thanks to Mr. Weezer and his bringing out the fact that the building and safety people will send registered letters to the owners. But do they send registered letters to they don't send registered letters though. So Mr. Weezer mentioned his situation with the county. Maybe he could expand on how he facilitates his property in the county to get his lien notices taken care of, and if he gets a registered letter or not, and what the difference in the cost would be. And somebody else, one of the people came up a couple of weeks ago in the city of LA, said he got a lien notice about graffiti. I got to tell you, maybe this is the Valley, but if you ever get the opportunity to ride on the Blue Line, there's no buildings, it's just graffiti.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Yes.
For this item, item 1C, there is a request to receive and file this item inasmuch as the lien has been paid.
Okay, without objection. Now, there's nothing left then to vote on one, right?
Correct.
Okay, so why don't we quickly move to the special agenda? So if we could recess the regular meeting and move into the special meeting. Could you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezer, Caress, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 11 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. We have cards, Mr. Walsh and Mr. Sachs. This is item 6, special meeting.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Minute 3. This is Mr. Krikorian has been shepherding this through. This authorizes the city attorney to expend $200,000 in settlement of the case of Gillian Baker et al. Versus the city of Los Angeles. Since he likes to correct me, Mr. Krikorian, is it true that this has to do with sexual harassment? HollywoodHighlands.org. Let's see if he'll correct me here.
Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. And my concern, it's a minimum amount, actually, $200,000. That's almost chump change. But there is no case noticed here. You know, when you have your other hearings for closed session for the Finance Committee to Budget and Finance Committee to get these items considered before them, normally there is a recap of what the case is. This just says you're paying $200,000 from the city attorney fund to the law office of Robert R. Powell. And I'm thinking, my concerns are you paid out money for a nonprofit for DWP, yet nobody knew what the hell it was for. And now it's come back to bite the public in the butt. There should be some kind of recap to what this actual case is about so the public has an idea. Otherwise, we come up here and sometimes we sound like idiots. Sometimes we sound like councilmen. Oh, that's an oxymoron. But again, where is the recap? What is this $200,000 for? And this is for the attorney. Is that attorney's fees? Is that to settle the case? Is there another amount on top of this for the actual person that's involved in this case? It doesn't say. It just says attorney trust payable to the law office of Robert R. Powell. What's the percentage work out? Is he getting 10% of this? Is he getting 20%, 40%? Little information for the public would go a long way. I should have brought that item up. You had an item, I have an item back there that says you paid out 48 cents in one of your accounts. We need that kind of...
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This matter was already considered by the City Council back in November. Mr. Walsh, in fact, provided public comment when it was heard the previous time. This is being brought back now to authorize the final settlement payment, and the reason that it is payable to the attorney trust fund, a trust account, is because that's the way settlements are always paid. This is not a payment to the lawyer. This is a payment that is given to the attorney's office, and then the attorney pays his client their portion of the settlement out of that trust account. So this is just a ordinary settlement of a case that the council already considered back in November, that Mr. Walsh already provided helpful public comment on, and this is just now the final payment of that matter. And no, it did not involve sexual harassment.
Okay, let's thank you, Mr. Krikorian. Let's yes, Mr. City Attorney.
And just for clarification, it was in the motion, but it wasn't reflected on the agenda description. This involved an LAPD arrest situation.
Go right ahead.
Just in response to Mr. Walsh, in fact, the special agenda does specifically reference the case name, the case number, and all of that is public record.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, forthwith. Now, if we could adjourn this special meeting and go back to the regular meeting. So what I'm going to do at this point, Madam Clerk, is I'm going to take 3 general public comment cards, and then we'll go back to the items. I would like to have Mr. Sean come forward, Daniel come forward, and Marion come forward. Sean, followed by Daniel, Gus, and then Miriam Fogler. Yes, Sean. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Herb. I want to bring up my church refurbishing update, if I may. Monsignor Gallagher says it's 50% done. They took down the scaffolding this week, and they're doing the floors. If it's finished by Easter, Jose Gomez is going to come out and bless the big church. It costs a lot of money to get my church refurbished. It's going to look nice when it's done. Thank you.
No, thank you, Sean. Daniel, followed by Ms. Fogler. Yes, sir.
Good morning. I want to thank sincerely Council President Herb Wesson for taking the time to invite and meet with me over the holiday. And also thank Michael Bai for spending a few hours in City Hall discussing my concerns. I found Herb Wesson to be a thoughtful and engaged listener who well into the meeting asked pertinent, meaningful questions. I wish we did it sooner. I hope we can do it again before too long. And there's a guy
we will.
And a guy who comes here with a lot of comments. This is absolutely sincere. I genuinely appreciate your attentiveness and your questions, and thank you very, very much for that.
Thank you.
We've had some problems the last 2 times I was here, but genuinely, if I don't feel like the First Amendment is being disobligingly attacked, I don't need to drop the F-bomb. If I don't find emails where I'm attacked personally by council members, I don't need to reply in kind. We don't come here to speak. We come here to be heard, and I appreciate that from Mr. Wesson and all of you when that happens. East Valley is charging $25 a head for animals who are turned in. Somebody brought 9 animals the other day and was turned away because she didn't have $225. That's a bad policy. City animals end up getting dumped in the Mojave in Canada and in pharmaceutical labs. Toward that end, somebody please make a Post-it note to find out why city animals are transferred to partners without a city microchip. Because if there are hundreds or thousands of animals ending up in the Mojave or in Canada, we won't know if they're ours if they're not microchipped before they leave the city shelters. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. And you know, I did have the next meeting with, so I just wanted you to know that. I know you do, and I appreciate you. Marion?
He just dropped the bomb, and I didn't even know that was occurring. But we should have had this video conferencing on so that people like him, thousands of people would be speaking here, not just Donna and I, but we're talking about thousands of people would be coming here and saying our concerns and getting this done, and not just sitting on the laurels and not doing anything about it. This is ridiculous to see this happening. What a tragedy. What a terrible thing. I'm just so, just really hurts me a lot. Secondly, the 761 is being cut off of Vanna Boulevard, and this is not good news because the fact is this is a predecessor towards pushing in the project. They claim they have $180 million for a fast bus, from what I've been told. But how is it going to continue to be maintained? How is this going to provide better service for the people riding the buses? You know, this video conferencing needs to be open. I can't tell you my opinion. I'll tell you, I was told that David Salzberg, he was going to get people out like Donna and I out of here. He said that when he was going down the steps down here. And, you know, I don't like that. That's not free speech. If he wants to get a settlement, fine. But if he's going to tell people they can't speak here, why does he deserve a settlement in the first place? In my opinion, that's my opinion, okay? I don't think it's right to deny people the democratic process to speak here when he goes ahead and says, let's shut this down because it's a waste of money. It's only $10,000 a year, and as a matter of fact, it can be free. We get rid of some of the expensive cameras that are here. It can be done, and it should be done now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I want to apologize in advance. I may not pronounce these names correctly. Pierre Brohamet and Monica Alexenko, please come forward. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. I appreciate the time to speak to you this morning because we have a real serious concern with DWP. My name is Pierre Bohamet. I live in Van Nuys, and I speak on behalf of residents of Los Angeles County that no longer want to sit back and let DWP continue to abuse us financially. We are asking you, Mayor Garcetti and Controller Ron Alperin, to immediately do away with the unnecessary tier system, which I brought up last time, which only puts millions of dollars in the pocket of the executives and management team of DWP. DWP is a nonprofit and should not end up the fiscal year with hundreds of millions of dollars to use for bonuses, unnecessary travel, and as we all have heard, parties. They also need to take a rate cut per kilowatts and HFC, hundreds of cubic feet of water usage. They have continuously asked for rate increases over the years, which were not justified but needed to pay for their abusive expenses. Although rate increases are on hold for 3 years, it is not enough. They must scale back the rates. We are ready to circulate a petition countywide and picket DWP and City Hall if that's what it will take. DWP has become the worst entity we, the residents of LA, have had to deal with. Excessive charges, rude employees, and non-qualified customer service employees is what we are forced to deal with. We are coming to you for action and support we can live with. Let me give you a quick example. My Tier 2 charge is .13948. My neighbor, which lives alone, his charge was .13949. For Tier 2. Why is it a different rate? Which when you add that up, it's millions of dollars that customers have to pay. The rate should be the same for everyone. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your concerns regarding this matter because it bothers us a lot to be taken advantage of by DWP.
Thank you for coming down, sir.
Thank you.
Good
morning. My name is Monica Alexenko. I'm a Valley resident and the Area Neighborhood Watch Captain of Kester Ridge. I'm here to speak to you about the plastic bag ban and DWP charges. The ban on plastic bags seems to me to be a ruse. This really is about money. Voters, consumers used to receive a recycled brown paper bag for free as a loyal customer. If ecology, environment really is the concern, why am I now paying 10 cents for the ecological brown paper bag that used to be free? Plastics, we all know, can and are being made from recycled materials. Eco-minded people use their old plastic bags from Target, stores they used to patronize, for several sound duties, walking the dog, lining trash containers. We now have to buy those bags. Why is buying that plastic bag better for the environment? It's about money. Put a stop to this before the 10-cent bag becomes the 15-cent bag, becomes the 25-cent bag. All you have to do is go to Target, stand in line, and you will hear voter outrage. Speaking of outrage, I have to tell you, I have a 92-year-old friend, a lady that lives alone, does have one tenant, a single person, lives in District 4, and her most recent DWP bill was $1,600. Now, I don't know about you, but a $1,600 bill, no person can possibly flush the toilet that often to get it to $1,600. This is an outrage, and we vote for you and trust that you will protect our freedoms and our best interest, and we need your help to investigate these things. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Okay, Madam Clerk, I'm going to switch over to item, I think it's item 5, called special by cards. So I'll call Sean again, Daniel, and Mr. Walsh. You'll be the first 3.
Yes, item 5. I support. Try to come down and take a look at St. Charles Church before it's done. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gus, Daniel Gus.
This is a great idea. I know Mr. Krikorian and Mr. Kurtz may find that surprising to see me offering a compliment, but when I'm treated reasonably, I respond reasonably. So this is a good idea. Have people come down to City Hall, but have them pay a fee for it so that everybody wins. So this is a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gus. Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Sachs. Arnold, you're on deck. Yes, sir.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. And remember, I research these things. I don't ask you questions. What this is the Southern California Association for Financial Professionals. These are the people, this is an organization, of the people you audit. In other words, the contractors hire auditors. The auditors have a group, and the city audits them. So they're at odds to begin with. These people are now going to be brought in here as your friends and have a special lunch event here for the people for the contractors that you audit. These are people employed by the contractors you audit having a special meal here at City Hall. This is the Hatfields versus the McCoys. They shouldn't be working together. This is the Montagues versus the Capulets. But remember, people audit here, their best friends are the contractors because they're pressured by these city councilmen to find nothing that is not kosher in these contracts. And now you're going to get together on February 14th for 3 hours, and the association will reimburse general services for having a party here. How much? No mention. In fact, this is a bribe. This is a bribe so that the city will not audit the favorite contractors. Maybe I haven't seen this money. I don't know how much money it is, but I'm sure that Mr. Krikorian will tell us how much this is costing this organization, financial professionals, and how much it will cost the city indirectly. HollywoodHighlands.org. Take it away, Krikorian.
Thank you, Thank you. Mr. Krikorian.
The short answer is it'll cost the city zero, but in any event, I would ask that this matter be received and filed.
Okay, so without objection. Oh, no, Arno, I apologize. You kind of moved out of my eye range. So now, Mr. Sachs.
Thank you very much. And
sorry again, Arno.
Actually, I'm wondering, the financial professionals, would that include the city council? Would that include the board from Metro? Only reason I ask is because the city council, and some of you are new, but some of you have been here for second term, you approved contracts for the city employees, 30% contracts over the last 5 years, even though the city was in recession. Now, I believe there was a story in the newspaper, something to do with the DWP losing $60 million a month in unpaid fees. Mr. Krikorian mentioned that the city is going to be in over $200 million in
Mr.
debt.
President, he is not talking about this item.
Okay, Arnold, get back.
Talking about financial professionals here, sir. And financial professionals would be people that can make numbers work. So on one hand, you're in debt for $200 million, and yet you're giving out pay raises. On the other hand...
Arnold, you got to get back on the topic. You tried to stretch. I feel you, but no, get back.
Financial professionals, there's no more financial professionals than the city council members who can make these kinds of lies up and make them...
Yeah. All right, Arnold, thank you. Thank you. Arnold, you're not on the subject, and I'm in the valley. I'm in a good mood. All right, so without objection, we will receive... No, Arnold, no back and forth. We'll receive and file this, Madam Clerk, at the request of Mr. Krikorian. Okay, let's jump back, members, to general public comment. Is this Kathleen Pardon or Padden? Please come forward. And Donna Pearman and Neil Alley. Please come forward. Hi.
Good afternoon, almost. I'd like to bring it to attention, or have I missed something, that there is no Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
No, we pledge allegiance every Tuesday, just so you know.
Oh,
it's done
really?
once a week, every Tuesday.
Like you brush your teeth, huh? Okay. In the 1990s, I've been calling street services to trim my trees. The trees do not get trimmed. 1998, the night of my mom's funeral, a tree branch broke and landed on my car. Made a great big V in it. That was really lovely. That was 1998. Still, I am calling and calling and calling to have the streets come out there and trim the trees. They're taller than my house. The trees are bringing up the cement. I have to call in the plumber to root my lines because the roots have gone through and they're beginning to eat my sewer lines. And there's still nothing happening. Now there's going to be the street across the street from me south. They get trimmed because water and power lines and telephone lines, the trees get in the way. But my trees, I just spent $5,000 on electric wiring for my house, and I sure as heck don't want to see one of those big branches from a Chinese elm come down and make me lose my power. I need oxygen in my house. My husband is not well. So I think it's about time that somebody pull their head out of wherever it's at and get over there and pull these trees out and do something on the cement.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Donna. Donna Pearman, Neil Alley, I believe it is, Lisa Sarkin.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is Donna Perriman. Yes, we need to reopen Van Nuys video conferencing
for all the people who come into the valley. You really, if they opened it up, you can come and speak on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, whenever you feel that there's an issue that's very important to you. So we need to keep that open. When David Salzberg got it closed down, it got closed down for a lot of people in the San Fernando Valley to speak. And that's my opinion. That's what happened. And also I like to speak about we can't get rid of the business tax. Somewhere along the line, if the businesses, especially the large corporations, don't pay, it will come down and it will hit the people who have to pay. They're not going for the small businesses. They're going for the large corporations. And that's not right. They need to pay their fair share of city taxes. We pay our city taxes and sales tax. They should, too. And the big issue on my mind is the 761. They want to take away the 761, the Van Nuys Boulevard bus, and only just give us a little Sepulveda bus. The biggest problem is there's a lot of people on Van Nuys Boulevard that won't know that it moved over to Sepulveda, and a lot of people with language difficulties, and a lot of people that are just slow in the mind, slow, and they won't know that they moved over and took away the 761. These buses are fully crowded. I have to go in the back. These buses are necessary to go over to West Los Angeles. If you want more buses going to West Los Angeles, that would be great. The only reason they're doing it is so they can take away the 761 and pull in that great big rail project, which will cost a lot more money than just bringing more buses to West Los Angeles. So don't get rid of the 761.
Thank you, Donna. So do we have Neil? Please come forward, followed by Lisa Sarkin, and then Arnold after Miss Sarkin. It's Arnold Sachs. Yes, sir.
Hi, Neil Alley. There's a water leak around the corner from my house. It's been leaking since January the 3rd. Water and Power knows about it. I've called the city council person. I talked to her aide. Her name was Crystal. I called the water department and gave them the address, and it's still leaking. And they're asking for a big raise. My main issue here is, why is the city spending $1 billion on the LA River to redo it? That's what I would like to find out, when they should be spending this money on the vets that come home from the war. That's my issues.
Oh, well, you have definitely had the right to your opinion, and thank you for coming down and sharing it with us, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So if we could have Ms. Sarkin, followed by Mr. Sachs, followed by Carol Sudam, maybe? So go right ahead.
Okay. Lisa Sarkin, Studio City Neighborhood Council. I'm the Vice President and Chair of the Land Use Committee. You have in front of you a letter from the Neighborhood Council and an email from our Advisory Committee on Small Lot Subdivisions. We're asking for a moratorium or interim control ordinance to give the Planning Department and the NCs time to rework this plan. It's not good. It does nothing but cause overcrowding and unsafe conditions in residential neighborhoods. Only 6 inches is required between each one of these privately owned units. And there's no HOA that's required. So how are they going to maintain a little teeny bit of space, which will only be a driveway in the ones that we have proposed in Studio City? There's no provision for any open space whatsoever except the driveways. There's no transition from the multifamilies to the single families. These are mostly R3 lots that were changed at some time, and even the people who lived in the homes for a long time didn't even know that they were R3 lots. Right now we have one at 4411 Lemp, where 8 units are proposed to be developed where 1 house is. That could be 24 trash cans out in the street on any given Wednesday when our trash gets picked up. We have 5 known properties in a 1-mile area that are owned by LLCs. This particular type of property, that's 1 lot in from Moore Park, for instance. We could have 40 units there with 3 bedrooms each. Our schools have no seats. There's no provision for any infrastructure changes, basically. Just take one house and put 8 there. So we're asking you to please do what we say in our motion. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council supports an interim control ordinance, placing a moratorium on all small lot subdivision applications. May I finish?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, if I could have now Mr. Sachs, followed by Carol Sudan, and followed by Barry Johnson. Go ahead, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Very quickly, a couple of months ago when you did that commission report on the status of L.A., well, I actually picked this up at the mayor's help desk in downtown L.A. It states L.A.'s best 2012-13 annual report. So I was wondering if you would make available that report in booklet form, the one that, ripped the city and its council and the activities. But what's fascinating is having some people come up here and talk about DWP, because this being the Valley, I was going to talk about DWP. And the things you listen to over and over again, and you just kind of take, for example, that the new mayor will be taking on DWP because he has been voted in by a mandate for the public. And the problem with that is they just signed a new 4-year contract. So if you got a 4-year contract, what mandate will he be issuing and what changes will he make with that 4-year contract? Is there a contract provision that would allow him to go in and renegotiate during the 4 years? I doubt it. You just had his 5-year contract with the Coalition of Labor for the unions in city, and you couldn't do anything about those 5% pay raises. So exactly what will the mayor's mandate be to rein in the out-of-control DWP? Doesn't make sense. You got a 4-year contract. What magical powers will he have? And not only that, but according to this article from 8/2013, the contracts would normally just be starting, and yet they were negotiated while the mayor was running for office. Both the candidates were running for office, and they're complete. How is that so? So who actually negotiated the contracts? Well, that would be the city council and the outgoing mayor. So who is beholden to who? That's a good question. Answer that question.
Thank you. Thank you, Arnold. Okay. Please come up and identify yourself. And is Barry Johnson, are you still here? Barry Johnson? Okay, go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Carol Sidum.
I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name.
Oh, everybody does. Don't worry about that. It can be Sidam, but Sidum's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
I live in Soup District 2 in the neighborhood that Lisa just referred to, where there is a small lot subdivision being considered. 8 small lots on a little over 10,000 square feet of property. Moore Park Avenue, which is a block from my house, is totally saturated with apartments and condos. And along with an overcrowded middle school 1 block away, we just can't take much more. Allowing the small lot ordinance to continue as it is spells disaster for all the neighborhoods like ours. There are just too many loopholes for eager developers to take advantage of. I drove up and down Moore Park Avenue yesterday between Colfax and Tahunga, and there are 11 identical R3 lots just like this one, all with older single-family homes on them, zoned R3, and just waiting to be bought up by outside developers and turned into high-density projects. And that's just the north side of Moore Park. Someone has to stop this. If we don't, our small neighborhood could easily be overrun by almost 100 new families very quickly and all 4 stories high. We don't ask much of you as constituents. Year after year, we quietly pay our taxes, work hard, and take care of our lives. This is the time to step up to the plate and stop this lightning change from a quiet community of homes to a high-density urban setting. Is it too much to ask? I don't think so. We've spoken to about 70 people in our neighborhood, all going door to door, and they are alarmed and angry that something like this could happen so quickly without us knowing about it. People are mad about this, and we want you to do something. We need you to take some action now. The buck stops here with you. We count on you to do the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Barry Johnson, Studio City Residents Association. I'm also here to speak on the small lot subdivision ordinance. This ordinance does not work where single-family homes are adjacent to R3 lots where these subdivisions can take place, as mentioned on the 11 lots that the previous speaker was just speaking of. I'm also perplexed that the homeowners in these single-family homes didn't even know that their properties are now R3. And in the research we've done, somehow mysteriously, these R1 lots became R3 sometime in the late 80s or early 90s, but yet nobody had any kind of notice of this happening. And I've heard off the record that there were some strange goings-on in terms of when we went computerized, that some things magically became R3 from R1s. So I think there should be an investigation into this. But, you know, single-family homeowners are the backbone of L.A. in terms of residences. And there needs to be, we're the last to ever be protected. And this is just yet another, you know, stab in the back of something happening without us having any say in the matter. Thank you.
Thank you. John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential. Mr. Krikorian put words in my mouth. Never did I say that you were paying for this or oppose the paying for the prom dresses. In fact, the prom dresses, as you heard, were free. What I said was that AEG provided the hall and didn't give these children one damn dime. You're paying AEG $5,000 for the hall that those children in the prom dresses were in. Amy Wakeland doesn't have to speak here. Wednesday, she spoke from the desk under public comment, and I want to say that cosmetic surgery she just had is excellent. She doesn't look a day over 39. Ethics swag, okay, the swag bags. I took a picture at the last Wednesday meeting. You had swag bags full of God knows what gifts put at your tables, including Mr. Krikorian. Was there money in there? Who was swag bags for? If you want to see it, you're not going to see it on damn Channel 35. If you want to see the swag bags at the public meeting, you must come to our website. It's up there right now at J. Walsh Confidential, HollywoodHighlands.org. I'm going to the Ethics Commission. No gifts. There's no record of what you people received. Okay, cops who blew up, who shot the two women at the LA Times deliverers, they're going to be back on the street. So LAPD, you can shoot me dead, and all it will mean is you'll have to spend 60 days under desk duty. I am an open target. LAX FBI report, just wait for it. Mike Feuer loses the case. They go after a judge who was did nothing wrong. It's in the front page. It had to do with bag of doggy doo-doo. Feuer loses the case. The jury comes back and says, you're full of shit. This woman was the guilty one, not the judge. You're just trying to intimidate the judge.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Okay, let's go to item 2. Members, it's a heck of a day at sea today. Okay, we'll go to item 2, and that's Sean. Mr. Walsh, you have a minute, it's my understanding. And Arnold, Mr. Sachs, does he have a minute as well? No, tell me. So, go on, Sean.
Item 2, I support.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, item 2.
Item 2, John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. I support it too. When you do a good job, I say you do a good job. Even when I say it and it's not on the topic, you never stop me. The REAP program is good. This helps us against bad landlords. You can see, and other cities don't have it. Jerk cities like Glendale are all in favor of the landlords. You don't get anything out of them. But here, all of you, thank you, Mr. Koretz, thank you, Krikorian, thank you, Mr. Labange, who isn't here. He's at home. But thank you, Ms. Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Farrell. Thank you, Mr. Bonin. Thank you, Mr. Blumenfeld. Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Thank you, Mr. Englander. Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Thank you, Mr. Weezer. And last but not least, thank El Presidente, Mr. Wesson. You do a great job on REAP.
Thank you. Okay, Arnold, you have a minute left, I'm informed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to hear you could laugh about that. It's sad. Hey, that's all right. Either you do or you don't. Doesn't really matter. Thank you. Again, Rent Escrow Program. The Housing Department Code Enforcement Unit goes out on these citations, and yet, by the way, are they doing any code enforcement on those earthquake buildings, structures that are earthquake unsound? Do you have an avenue of discussion involved with that? Are they doing anything about the sidewalks when they go out to some of these enforcement unit to see some of these properties? Do they ever happen to trip over a sidewalk where the tree branches are coming up and maybe mention that in a report? But they don't do anything about foreclosed property that is in disrepair. $1,000 a day. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties listed here. That's $5,000.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, we're going back to general public comment. I think it's Marcy Morrell, Judy Wood, Charlie Jensen. Please come forward. Go right ahead.
My name is Marcy Merrill, and I live on Lemp Avenue. I want to express my extreme opposition to the planned small lot development intended for 4411 Lemp Avenue in Studio City. All the homeowners in the neighborhood also oppose the planned development, so much so that I have a stack here in my hand of petitions that they have signed to document their opposition for the record. This is a very residential neighborhood. As it stands, planning to build multifamily housing in this neighborhood is not consistent with the current single-family homes, which have been here for decades. The current design of huge boxes will be a complete contrast to the homes which exist on Lemp now. I am also concerned about the increased flow of automobiles and foot traffic in the area. Finally, I am concerned about what the impact will be on the value of the surrounding homes. We all know that multifamily housing has a severe impact on the market value of single-family properties, which sit adjacent to these poorly designed monstrosities. I truly hope that the city will consider my objections to this proposed development project and vote against the development as planned. The city should put a hold on the development so that the city has time to reassess the implementation of the small lot subdivision ordinance. The new development needs to be redesigned in such a way that it hurts neither the current owners nor the new residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is Ms. Wood, please come forward, followed by Charlie Jensen. Yes.
My name is Judy Wood, and I live in Studio City. Many areas in Los Angeles have great quality of life. People want to live in these areas to participate in that quality of life. So the city is encouraging the addition of multi-unit dwellings to allow more families in the middle and lower income levels to join those communities and share in that quality of life. This is a worthy goal. One tool that has been created to facilitate the addition of affordable multi-unit housing is the small lot subdivision ordinance, which, as you know, permits developers to build a number of singly owned homes on small lots. There are design guidelines for small lot subdivision developments, but these guidelines are unclear, inconsistent, subject to many different interpretations, and virtually unenforceable. As a result, developers are building units that do not fit into the existing neighborhoods. They are squeezing sterile, cookie-cutter boxes onto R3 lots that are next to single-family homes on R1 lots. When we allow this to happen, we change the nature of the existing neighborhoods. The existing ambient, spaciousness, privacy are negatively impacted, so that instead of sharing the quality of life, we are diminishing the quality of life for everyone. The small lot subdivision ordinance needs to be amended to make sure that we sustain quality of life when we add multi-unit dwellings. Instead of design suggestions that are easily ignored, we need to establish specific requirements that clearly cover such things as limitations on the number of homes that can be built on any different size lots, transitions for heights for developments on R3 lots that sit next to R1 lots, more reasonable setback requirements, storm water recapture, green spaces and trees for cooling, homeowner associations, etc. I urge the City Council to place a moratorium on the implementation of the small lot subdivision ordinance for land parcels that are less than 1/3 acre.
Thank you. Charlie Jensen.
Good morning. I'm Charlie Jensen. I'm the Communication and Events Manager for Arts for LA. And I wanted to start out today by saying thank you so much for recognizing the very important arts leaders who are doing work in the San Fernando Valley. It was great to see that. I'm very proud of the show of support by the arts community that was here today on behalf of the San Fernando Valley Arts Council. And I think that is evidence that we are an engaged, informed, and invested community in this region, and that we're all dedicated to building a healthy community in Los Angeles. What I heard today is concern about cultural equity, a huge issue throughout Los Angeles, not just in the Valley, but in every neighborhood and region. I heard a lot of passion, and for passion to be successful, we need strategy. So Arts for LA is working on gathering data on existing cultural infrastructure, perhaps even invisible cultural infrastructure, throughout Los Angeles and particularly in the Valley. And we believe this cultural asset map will be a critical tool in creating a citywide strategy to address these issues of cultural equity that we've heard here today. We look forward to working in partnership with the City of Los Angeles and our residents and our cultural organizations to bolster access to arts and culture and to continue our work together successfully. Thank you for your time.
Now, thank you. And Madam Clerk, earlier today, I believe it was item 3, we continued that for 2 weeks. I've been informed that we really need to hear that item on this Tuesday. So can we just continue it until this Tuesday? And that was item 3.
Yes, and that'd be February 11th.
Okay. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item number 6 on the special agenda, if I could ask that that be sent forth with
I
as
did
well.
that.
Oh, you did? Okay,
It's
thank
gone. It's done. Mr. John Camera, Nina Royal, Candido. Yes, sir.
Good morning, President, council members. I, too, would like to thank you for coming to the San Fernando Valley. I'm here today to thank Ms. Martinez, the kindness she showed to myself, my group, and Father Vito when we met with him. Our future is brighter now because of your kindness. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Royal. I see you over there. And you'll be followed by Candido, followed by David Barron.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nina Royal. I'm the Treasurer Safety Chair, and I am on the Land Use Committee for the Sunland Tujunga Neighborhood Council. And I'm here to remind you all that you were elected by us. You were elected to represent us. And in specific, I am speaking about the Samoa project. When it first came up, we knew nothing about it, and the funding was already approved. It was too late for us to really do anything, but we held meetings. We went to Sacramento because this was a bad project. We were assured that it was never going to pass, and guess what? It did. And now we elected a representative, Mr. Felipe Fuentes, who wrote a letter giving the money to a company that said that it was going to be privately funded. They came to our last Land Use Committee meeting, asked us not to fight them on what they were going to do. And here comes this letter giving them the money. And we still do not want the project. We made this very clear when you were running for election, Mr. Fuentes, and not only did we do it at one time, several times. And when you were running, you said you didn't know about what SB 1818 is. Well, it doesn't matter whether it's SB 1818 or whether you call it affordable housing. The project is too big for the street that it's on. There is no parking. There is no yard for children. There are 3- and 4-bedroom apartments. We have a museum that's on the corner. There's no parking there either. Nothing has changed. We do not want this project. I gave you a copy of the letter from Mr. Fuentes regarding Malari. I also gave you our response. And since half of you are all new, I invite you to come to my community and look at this property, and you'll be appalled. Because when they went up to the state and talked to the state representatives, they said had they seen this property and known the circumstances, they would never have approved the funding. Now, the funding is going to be coming before you again, and we are begging you not to.
Thank you very much. Candido, followed by David Barron.
Hold my time, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. President, council members. Candido Maris, proud resident of the 12th District and someone who has been having a love affair with the city of Van Nuys for over 40 years. With me is John Camara again and Mr. Jim Piper. We are here because we're starting to see a balance of power and accountability within this group here, the mayor's office, DWP, and we want to thank Mayor Garcetti for the changes that have taken place at DWP. Marcy Edwards is someone I worked with or I knew for many years over at DWP and her family, so I'm telling you, she is a wonderful human being and will do the right things. Everybody wants to knock DWP, and for many years I fought DWP. But 99.9% of those people are good people and want to do the right thing. And when we come up against a disaster, you're going to see the finest workers, the finest utility group in the world come to us and defend us and protect us and provide the water and power. So, again, we need to fix the problems at DWP. Even Mr. DRC, let's put out olive branch. Let's become friends. Let's forget the past, fix the problems from the past, but let's come together and work for the right issues and make sure that the city is protected, Mr. President. Mr. Wesson, you do a wonderful job here. You allow us to speak. Sometimes we get out of control, but mainly you allow us. And so that's a balance of power that I want to thank you for. Also, we're looking forward to former chief and now current Chief McDonald taking over as sheriff. There will be a balance of power there. And Ms. Martinez, a balance of power in Van Nuys. We want to present with you, if you'll join us. You had a meeting with us and some of us in the community who sometimes feel there's no voice. We have formed a new group. We're calling it We Do Love LA Roundtable, and this is the very first hat that's being made, and we want to present it to you because this came about because of our meeting with you. So we'd like to give this to you, and all are going to be welcome. Everyone's going to sit at that round table and have a voice. So thank you very much for allowing us.
Okay, and thank you, Candido.
Giving us dignity and pride.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Barron? Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Barron from Sunland, Tahunga. I strongly oppose the proposed Samoa project, the large apartment complex going up in Sunland, Tahunga. It doesn't matter if these projects are using an SB 1818 project or affordable housing projects. These designs do not provide adequate parking, which bring a negative impact to the neighborhoods, and the ability to allow these large, insufficient designs create the problem of no equal justice to the apartment owner who's down the street trying to convert his recreation room to a rental unit and is denied because the zoning law says that he has to provide parking. However, such projects like Samoa and other affordable housing projects can provide less parking. No common sense here, no equal justice here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. That concludes general public comment for today. Mr. City Attorney or Mr. Englander, is there announcement needs to be made at this point?
Yes, I'd like to ask that we have an immediate Rule 23 and go into a closed session on a matter. We'll have our City Attorney read the matter into the record.
Go right ahead.
I'll ask for a second.
Will not be long, members. Will not be long. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the Council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Since the posting of today's agenda, the LAPD has developed measures intended to address security issues manifested by last week's security breach in City Hall. Immediate action is required for the LAPD to brief Council in closed session regarding these measures pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 regarding a threat to the security of public buildings. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Okay, let's vote on it. Mr. Fuente? Okay, it's been seconded. Let's open the roll. This is on the findings. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, so no, no. First of all, you don't holler. Okay. Now, Mr. City Attorney. No, you're disrupting the meeting. Mr. City Attorney, how do we proceed at this point? Where relates to public comment?
Since this is still a part of the regular meeting, the time limit rules still apply.
Okay, so we'll let Mr. Walsh, you can speak on this item. You've already, okay. Wait. Hold on one second. Wait. What I'll do, no. What I will do is allow you to speak for 1 minute. You have already used your 5. So go on for 1 minute.
That's legal under the Brown Act. Okay. Yes. Somebody came in here. It was easy to come in here. You go to one of the, at City Hall, you go one of the side doors. When someone opens it, you go through, and the person came up to Mr. Bonin's office. Mr. Bonin didn't know what to do. He was a blithering idiot. He didn't know what to do. He started writing on your wall. Well, you have a serious problem there with security. This shouldn't be shoved under the rug. You can't even protect yourself over there. The man could have had a gun. He could have had a bomb. He could have had anything. He was just a bum. Homeless. But in fact, he could have been anything else. And you are trying to shove this under the rug. We need a full hearing on what's going on, and it shouldn't be in secret, and this should have been held at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay, Sergeants, clear the Sachs, you get 1 minute too.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And the idea that somebody would come in, pretty much you have employees in City Hall, go over basic employee rules and regulations. He didn't just come through the door because you need to have a pass to activate the door. Go over simple, if somebody's following you up the steps, make sure they have an access card. Don't let them in. It's really pretty simple to go to code red for a violation. With all the security that you do for coming through the front and all these doors and signing in and signing out, when some of the biggest terrorists, in the county sit around that horseshoe, so some of the biggest terrorists sit around this horseshoe, take a look at security there with how you spend your time on funding. This is simple.
Thank you. Thank you, Arno. Okay, Sergeants, clear the chambers. Please clear the chambers.
traffic accident like this before, where a teenager has decided to run from the police and been struck by a motor vehicle.
5859 KF 5060, watch 3. 506
Curfew laws restrict the right of juveniles to be outdoors or in the public places after 10 p.m. until sunrise the next day. Such laws aim to establish a safer community and to better protect people from becoming victims of crimes or becoming involved in a crime. Most people don't agree with our curfew laws and would rather run the risk of being picked up by the police and ticketed for violation of curfew. However, they are more likely to run into the many real dangers that face us every time we go out at night.
We have found that kids out so late are normally caught up in violence, traffic accidents, and when we up to no good. Some of these kids still they're not aware of the law, and they're not educated on it.
Drinking, drugs, sexual predators, and gang-related activities are only few of the dangers we face regardless of how young or old you are. If you are under the age of 18, this law applies to you. What happens if you are caught? You will be taken to the station where the ticket is written out to you and your parent or guardian are called to pick you up. If your parent cannot pick you up, you will be placed into a protective custody or sent to a juvenile facility.
Guardian at something like an event such as Corral Beach.
The guardian is not just someone appointed to by the parents. A guardian is someone appointed by the courts.
You can legally stay out late if you are participating in a religious, educational, or political activity, accompanied by a parent or guardian, going to or from their place of employment, responding to some type of emergency, returning home from school, cultural, or recreation activity.
And that's our message, is not only enforcing the curfew violation, but also educating them that they need to stay home and stay safe.
The curfew laws are not just here to protect us, they're here to protect the safety of everyone in our community.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, where does that bring us? Today's agenda?
Mr. President, just for the record, for that the special one, there that is note and file without objection.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, what else?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They're posted and referred. So we're at announcements. Announcements, members. Any announcements? Announcements. If I could have everyone please rise. Adjourning motions. I look to Mr. Koretz's side. Any adjourning motions? I look to Mr. Weezar's side. No adjourning motions. Members, this council meeting is adjourned.